Hello Vikings, and welcome back to episode 18 of the Valheim guide. And I wonder what LOX was doing. I think it's just gone to eat. I didn't actually tell it to move, but we can of course move it around our LOX enclosure. And today we are talking all things LOX, including how to find them and tame them, breed them and ride them like I am right now. And then we'll come on at the end, we'll talk about this right here, which is a bit of an overkill LOX pen. You don't stress, you definitely don't need to make anything this kind of size, just something I did on my stream. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about this. So let's jump into it and talk about everything there is to know about LOX. So I found some LOX here, but they're near a tar pit. Now this is actually kind of a good thing because it allows me to talk about this. If you're going to look to breed the LOX freely, which I'll talk to you about in a second, then you don't want them to be too near something like this because they will fight these mobs whenever they see them. So you'll need to like kite them away to a bit of a safer area. But of course you will find LOX spawning all over the plains biome, so then it's just up to you to find a good location for them. So to breed them freely, all you need to do is bring with you some cloudberries, some barley or some flax. Now I recommend that you use the barley or the flax because it's an easily farmable resource, and I made an entire video about this, the last video in this series, if you guys want to check it out for more information. As for the cloudberries, I'll show you where to find those in a sec. But if you want to just let the LOX sort of roam free and breed them, you can do that. What we'll do is run over to somewhere near where these guys are, and we'll kite them a little bit away from here. So let's see if I can get this guy here to chase me. So here we go. Hello, Mr. LOX. Yep, there we go. Okay, try not to get too close to him and get stuck on a bush like I did there. But we'll get him to kind of chase me over here a little bit to a bit of a safer area. And then once he's over here, what we're going to do is just place some stuff down on the floor. So I'll just chuck down some barley here. There we go. I'll chuck down some of this here. And I'll chuck down some cloudberries as well. So he's got all of that. Now I'm going to try and get the heck out of here. And when I come back later, hopefully the LOX have eaten a few of those and started to tame. So these right here are what cloudberries look like in the plains. So you can go ahead and just pick those up when you see them. And they can be used for a few different things, but LOX breeding is definitely one of them. However, as I said, I think the flax and barley is probably the better way to go, as it is an easily farmable resource. So whenever I make a video or live stream about LOX and breeding and taming them and stuff like that, people always talk about this method where you just kind of leave the resources on the floor and let the LOX breed amongst themselves. But this has never been my preferred method, so let's talk about another way you can do this. So one thing you can do is just use your pickaxe and mine down and make a big pit. Now, what you're going to want to do is trap at least 2 LOX, right? Because you're going to need at least 2 LOX in order to breed others. But if we make a big pit here, I'll show you guys how we can trap them in there and why I prefer this way of doing it. So I've gone ahead and dug a hole here. Now the hole is basically just big enough for a couple of LOX to get into. It should be okay. You do need to make it quite a size and quite deep because they can like stand on top of each other and escape and stuff like that. But then all we're going to do is kite a LOX over here, and having a harpoon on you can actually help with this. So let me go find some LOX, get them over here, then I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I've got a LOX here chasing me. You would want to say just enough away from it that it can start to attack you in order to get it here as quickly as you can. And we're getting pretty close to that pit now, so I'm going to go ahead and equip the harpoon in case I need it. But let's get it really, really close. Then we want to run around the other side of the pit so that we can hopefully get it in. So let's go around here like this. See if he's going to just go in naturally. Sometimes they might just fall in. But other times what you can do then is just harpoon and just pull him down into this pit, right? So here we go. Pull him down. And there we go. Then we can just run away and the harpoon will go released. Okay, so now there's a LOX down here in this pit. So what we're going to do now is, of course, just chuck down some food for it so that we can give this one the cloudberries here. Let's get those. There we go. And although it's pretty angry right now, once we run away, it will calm down and it will eat those berries and start to tame. And obviously, if I was doing this for the first time, like this is how I already did it, so I don't really need to do this again, but you'd want to put a second one in there. So that's another option. So you got the free roaming option to just leave them to roam and chuck some food down near them, or you can make a nice little hole like that and put them in there. Or the other thing you can do is build a bit of a cage, which I'll show you guys now. So you want to build yourself a stone structure like this in order to trap the LOX in. Now, as you can see here, when I get this stone wall selected, I can just about close this gap off if I place that down there. Now that's exactly what you want because LOX are a little bit tricky. They're quite big animals, so you want to have the most amount of space between here to get them through and in, while still being able to very quickly place that down. And to that end, I would suggest that you have your hammer ready. So right now, if I put my hammer away, as soon as I get it back, I'm ready to place that because we want to do that quickly, as you'll see in a moment. The other thing to do is to get yourself prepared. So what we need here is either barley or cloudberries or flax, and this is what we feed the LOX in order to tame it. So have that on you, because again, we're going to chuck that in as soon as the LOX is trapped, in order to start the taming process. Now, what I've done here is I've actually made this place in a meadows biome. You can see here I've got a lot of plains around me, but there's a good meadows clearing right here, and this is a nice safe place to build this. However, you can of course build this just in the plains if you want, but I thought for the sake of this video I would mention the fact that you may want to build it in a biome next door, as it will be a little safer when you're coming back to check on your LOX, and also while you're waiting for them to actually become tame, which will take around 45 minutes. Alright, so I've got a LOX chasing me right now from the plains biome. We're trying to get him back into here, so we're going to run right to the back of this, then we're going to jump up and go and place this down in here, like there. Is that right? Maybe just stuck a little bit there. There we go. So it's like just about got him trapped. And there we go. And you can see here he's damaging the walls. He doesn't like to be trapped because he's very angry right now. And that's why you need to use the stone walls, because he would break anything that was like less powerful. So then what you can do is go ahead and get up onto one of these walls and just chuck in some food for him. You want to do that very quickly so he doesn't attack you. You could also run away, wait for him to calm down, and then sort of sneak back. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to go away from the LOX. So once he's trapped and you've chucked the food in, go and get yourself away from him. This is in order to let him calm down a bit. He'll stop trying to break those walls. And then once he's calm, he'll start to eat whichever food you left for him. And over time, as I say, it takes about 45 minutes. He'll eat enough of those to actually become tame. Now, one thing to mention is when you make your little hole in the plains, it might be worth making a little marker on the map of roughly where it is so you find it easier to get back to. I am actually speaking from experience because trying to get back here, I died. So yeah, thought I'd mention that. Now, I just want to go check on our LOX a second. There's a couple of mosquitoes up here, so we want to kill these guys potentially as well if they come too close. But there he is. Okay, so right now he's on okay, yeah, please don't kill me. Okay, 10%. So basically they'll eat the cloudberries and become tame over time. Now what I did, I just spent a lot of time away from the LOX to see whether he'd start to tame or not. It looks like he didn't. Okay, can we get both? Yeah, okay, good. So I think you need to be somewhere nearby in order for the LOX to tame. So what I'm thinking is if I was up here, this might be a safer place to go. Come jump up here, here we go. And this is perhaps like near enough by that the LOX can eat without being frightened, but it's still sort of loaded into the world and will still eat and start to tame, because if we go too far away, I don't think that's going to happen. So from being stood up on this rock right here, if I zoom in as much as I can, and I'll try and zoom in editing as well for you guys to see this, but the LOX right now is emitting some little hearts, and these hearts mean that it is starting to tame. So all we have to do now is wait until that LOX becomes tame, and then we can move it or do other things with it. Now obviously because of this, you might want to think about where exactly you're making your hole, and then have some stuff to do around it, whether that's tree cutting or maybe a fueling camp raid or something like that, as they can take a couple of in-game days to raid. So when I first did this, I made sure that I had a lot of projects around this hole in order to do. Otherwise you just kind of sat here for a couple of days. If you want to AFK, you could do that, but you want to make yourself something very safe, because obviously if I'm just stood here, mosquitoes can come and get me, or fuelings could come up to me or whatever. So if you want to make like a little AFK area, that's totally doable too. But now it's just a waiting game until those LOX become tame. So one thing you can do while you're waiting is go ahead and make yourself up a LOX saddle. Now you see this does require some new materials in the game, some linen thread and black metal, so you might not have those just yet. But if you want to know how to get those, you can watch my previous episode to show you how to get linen, and the one before that show you how to get black metal. But making that up will mean you're able to ride your LOX around once it's tamed, which I'll show you in just a sec. So once you have a LOX tamed, you can go ahead and saddle one up. So for example, if I hold the saddle and press 8 here, then Samantha is now ready for a ride. So this is one of the LOX that we'd already named before. So let's just turn around a little bit, then I'll talk a little bit about LOX riding. So if I press W, she'll just go forwards, and S will stop her. You don't have to hold this down. Once you press W, she just goes forwards. If you press Shift, she'll start to sprint, and then you press S to stop. And again, she'll just continue sprinting, even though you've just tapped sprint, you have to hold that down. So that's kind of the basics. If you want to turn, I find that if I want to turn left here, spamming W and A seems to be the fastest way to turn, and then spamming W and D is the fastest way to turn to the right. S, of course, again, to break it. It looks like, talking about breaking, that LOX over there, sort of breaking my my building here. So then left shift and E to remove the saddle from them. And if you have a LOX like this one over here that has been tamed and but not yet named, left shift and E and you can name it. So we'll give it the classic Loxan. All right, sneaking in the dad jokes here. And that's how you can name the LOX. Now, in order to breed the LOX, you'll need to feed them, and they'll need enough space. So in an enclosure like this, we're probably at about the limit of where we can get to in terms of the number of LOX in here. So I'm going to go ahead and kill a few before I talk to you about breeding. Now, in order to kill the LOX, what you want to do is use the butcher's knife. The other thing you can do is turn off friendly fire. So you can, if that's usually disabled, if you enable it, then you can use like any of your weapons on tame animals, or you can just use the butcher's knife. So Loxanne is going to be our test subject here. We can see here that with just 3 hits, she is killed from the butcher's knife. So it's a very useful tool to have for killing any tamed animals, but especially the LOX. And then, of course, from this, you'll get LOX meat and you'll get LOX pelt. I already had some on me, so I think I got there about 2 LOX pelt and maybe 4 of the LOX meat. And that's obviously what we're doing this for, is to get all of these drops. As you see here, these LOX are trying to attack this Defsquito because they have been tamed. We're going to go ahead and kill that. So when there's like mobs that get into the pen or nearby to a tamed LOX, you can see that the LOX will try to attack them. Now, I've gone ahead and killed all of the other LOX in here, apart from Henry and Samantha. So now, on their little feeding like plate thing here that I made, I'm going to go and chuck down some of these things, the cloudberries. Now, this guy right here is still a bit stressed out from that attack. So we're going to go away, let him calm down a bit, and over time they will eat this food. Oh, looks like, okay, maybe they're chilling. Samantha chilled. Okay, Henry's chilled as well. Let's see if he comes over here. So once the LOX start to get happy, they've both eaten and they're happy with each other and stuff, you'll see those pink hearts that you saw there, and that means that they are at least attempting to breed. I don't think it means it's guaranteed for a LOX calf to be born, but it means the chances have just gone up. So let's have a look at what's happening here. It looks like there was some love in the air, but now Samantha seems like she might be pushing Henry away. It's complex. The mating behavior of LOX guys is very complex. But those pink hearts mean that you're doing something right. And if you wait long enough, here we go, there's some more pink hearts, then eventually they'll be in love with each other, and it'll be just a matter of time before baby LOX is born. And here we go, guys. After a bit of time passed, we do have a lovely LOX calf who's being all shy for the camera. Come over here, man. They're very, very cute indeed, but let's see if we can get this one out to have a better look at it. Okay, so I pushed it. I don't know if it's a him or a her, so just pushed it. There we go, out there. And we can see the beautiful LOX calf. Definitely the cutest cutest animal in the game. So then, you know, after some time, the calf will, of course, grow up to be an adult. The calf will automatically be tamed because it was obviously bred in captivity, right? So that's how that works. And then you just repeat the process, and eventually this will be dinner, because we're going to kill these as they grow older, and then more will keep spawning. And if you ever just get fed up with that, you can obviously let the LOX breed until this pen gets essentially full and no more will breed. And then you can just leave it like a nice little enclosure for people to visit, or whatever you want to do with it. Now, there are some other cool things you can do with LOX, such as you can swim with them when they're on the saddle, you can get them onto boats and things like that, but I already made a whole video about that. So what I'm going to do is just put a link to that at the end of this video and in the description and all that sort of stuff. If you go to my channel, How to Breed LOX, you will see it there. But what I'm going to do for now is just talk you through the creative design work of this pen that we did on some of my live streams. So this is, of course, my Plains farm area, and then over here we have the LOX pen, and this was built on some of my live streams that I've been doing here on YouTube. If you guys want to get notified anytime I go live, then be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, or also join my Discord, link in description, where you guys can get part of the notification squad, get a ping every time I release a video or every time I go live. Now, the original plan was to have it all undercover as this end is here, and the reason for that was to protect the LOX in here from Defsquitos and that sort of thing. However, we ran into a bit of an issue, something I didn't know until recently, but the LOX, when they are looking on the ground for food, they are technically looking from the height of a troll. And because a troll would be stood higher than this roof when the LOX look down, all it could see is roof. So that is like something useful that you guys may want to know if you're making some sort of LOX pen yourselves, but they need to be able to sort of see the food, and that was the way they could see it. So what we decided is this over here is the nighttime area, and as such, we have given the LOX some LOX beds. So I've got 8 of the normal beds, sort of back to back here, as you can see. And we can get a lot. In fact, I got a screenshot of a LOX on one, so let me put that on screen right now. So there you go. There's the LOX in that bed. Pretty funny. That happened on the live stream. So we've got a couple beds over here, and that's about it for now. We put all the this was dirt all once, so then we made it all like plains grass again. And yeah, they've got this undercover area. Then over through here, we've got a few different things going on, including the little feeding pen. And then I made it some cultivated soil around it, so it's like getting muddy. They even managed to get a bit of mud on their little feeding tray. As you see, I just made that with some wooden flooring. So yeah, it looks okay, something a bit different. And then we got this thing over here. So a lot of this stuff was suggestions, by the way, from people in my stream. So big shout out to all of them. You guys all know who you are. But this place would not be looking as nice as I think it now does without you all. And yeah, this one here was the LOX's water. So we used an item stand there and put an axe on it to make a little tap here for the water that goes down there. Added the stone around it. Of course, that is a jacuzzi. And then we just put some stone along the back to hide the furnace part of the jacuzzi. And they've just got this nice little water area that looks like it fills up from a tap. So yeah, kind of a cool little pen, quite happy with it. And then obviously got this bridge walkway here. This is our way of getting in and out, and also we can stand up here and throw food down to the LOX and stuff like that if we want to. But I was quite happy with this pen. Basically, around this area here, you see what the mountains and the plains here. This is where I'm going to be making my base, going off up into the mountains and stuff. So I wanted anything I build here to look kind of nice. And so far, I think we've achieved that with a LOX pen. And the next thing I'll look to make a lot nicer is going to be probably over here, this windmill area, this farm area. So lots of building work to do, so there'll be lots of streams and stuff for that. But here is how the LOX pen looks for now. Hope you guys like this. And as I say, if you want to see more, then join my streams. So I certainly had lots of fun filming today's episode. But from me and Henry here, it's time to say the dad jokes are, of course, coming. But for now, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. How do you raise a baby LOX? With a forklift. How do you stop a LOX from charging? Take away its credit card. What do you get when a LOX skydives? A big hole. How do you know LOX love to travel? Because they're always in planes. What did the LOX say to his girlfriend? I love you a ton. I was trying to flax my LOX jokes, but I could barely get enough to do the outro.